Thank you for joining us on a special edition of Shane Talks tonight. This episode was actually recorded on Thursday, August 6th of 2020. I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit it and put it out, but I want to make sure that since Sun King has currently sponsored us with beers, that I bring up the fact that while we are talking about our first movie we ever made 20 years ago in the summer of 2000, Jason and I were both drinking Johann from Sun King tonight. It is the barrel-aged version of their first beer that they ever made. So I thought that it was fitting that while we talked about our first movie from 20 years ago, we're drinking their first beer from 13 years ago. Anyway, it's a really special episode. We're going to have a really good time chatting with 6 other people who helped us that summer and made sure that the movie ended up getting made and happened. So everybody have a cheers to Sun King, Johann, and our film Consternate. Welcome to a kind of quasi-special edition of Shane Talks. This isn't what we normally do, but tonight we are getting together a bunch of people who worked with me and Jason on our very first film that we ever made in the summer of 2000. It is the 20th anniversary of that awesome feat that we pulled off that summer. And the first things first, I am joined by my regular co-host on Shane Talks, my creative co-pilot for the past 20 years. He's the man who held this production together because I didn't do anything to help it. He is my hetero life mate who played my best friend in the movie. Once his character got written out of the script really early, Jason took over the directing duties for the movie. And what's up, Jason Maier?
Good evening, sir.
All right, this young lady was one of 2 women who auditioned for one of 2 female parts that we had available, so she got cast. She played my girlfriend, Sasha. I shared my first on-screen kiss with this girl. How are you doing, Annette Reynolds?
Great. Good to be here.
The other beautiful lady that we have with us tonight is the woman who played my mother in the film. But also, this movie would not have been made without her because she let us run all over the theater that she worked at, filming, working on the scripts, doing everything that we could. Miss Dione Ashwill, how are you today?
Good. How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Dave Maier is being quiet right now, pretending to be the killer, so I'm not even going to talk about him. Without this next guy, the movie is not possible. We originally just asked him to come to one day of filming and shoot a scene with Jason, and then we just couldn't get rid of him. He picked up a camera and just started shooting, gave his creative eye to what was going on behind the scenes. He gaffed, he gophered, he was our best boy. Zach Proctor, how you doing, sir?
All right, good to be here.
Every cast has a sex symbol. This Puerto Rican god is ours. He's got the body and the muscles, and he has one of the best chase scene deaths I've ever seen on film. I'm so happy that our Johnny Depp is here. What's up, Lee Vidal?
20 years later, dead bod.
You're Puerto Rican?
I think so.
This soothing and sexy voice bookends our film. His charismatic voiceover work was very typecast, as we wrote a radio DJ into the movie to be played by a real-life radio DJ. What's up, Jason Richardson?
Hey, guys. So glad to be here. Such a good idea. Thank you for the invite.
All right, and last but definitely not least, this is the man who was the most committed to this film, even more than me. He was required to be on set every single day. He did all of the physical stunts. He terrorized our cast, and as soon as we yelled cut, he was saying the best jokes and making everybody laugh. I have a fight scene with this guy in the movie, and he throws me against the wall as hard as he can, and I think that was his favorite day of filming. What's up, Mark Buckwalter?
Hey, what's going on?
All right, I'm so happy to have you guys here. So, a little history on our script real quick. It started out actually in April of 1999. Both Jason Richardson and Jason Maier and I were with a different group of friends, and we started writing a script called Kindred Spirit. It was way different than what ended up happening, and we had like 9 guys trying to write this movie. Completely fell apart. Nobody could agree with anybody. There's literally a page in here where I wrote, fuck everything I've ever written, you guys don't like it, or something like that. That's pretty much how well our melding was trying to get that first script together. So it completely fell apart. couple months later, Jason had the idea, hey man, let's not give up on making a movie. Let's you and I just do it together, just two of us. And that was the birth of Consternate in September of 1999.
You're welcome.
We wrote for about 4 months. We ended up finishing the script in February of 2002. Then we held our first casting session in... Yes?
You just said February 2002.
February of 2000. Thank you for correcting that. February of 2000, we finished the script. We went to do the casting call for the two main female characters, because every other person on this call besides Annette had a part written specifically for them. Annette, do you remember anything about the casting stuff that we did with you?
I do. So I remember I was taking theater class with Kathleen Horrigan, and she passed out like these little flyers, like, hey, do you want to audition for this show? So I came, and I just remember meeting with you guys at the Castleton Arts Theater and filling out like paperwork, which, so get this, I actually still have it.
What?
Hold on. You guys took a little picture of me.
Why didn't we keep that?
Maybe you gave it back to her, Shane.
Oh, okay.
But then, like, I actually like filled out a questionnaire and everything, and I have all that stuff. Anyways,
Oh,
it was
that's
fun.
awesome. That is so awesome.
Shouldn't that be stuff that we kept?
Maybe you should ask her to take a picture.
If you were a good production company, you would have.
Oh, hey, you're
Yes.
cast. Go ahead and have all your stuff back.
So you gave it back to me, I guess, for some reason. I don't know. I don't remember that, but I have it. So, but yeah, it was fun. I remember reading like some lines with you guys, and yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I was the only
Jaybird,
person, so no
Pretty
comment.
cool.
Oh no, it was you and Rachel showed up that day. You guys, did you guys come together? You might have come together.
We did not. No,
Okay.
I think it was.
I didn't know if it was one of those things where you were like, these two creepy dudes are asking me to come to this building all by myself.
At least I think we came separately, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
So what grade and how old were you then, Annette?
I was a senior in high school.
Okay,
So I'm
then
like 18 or
and you
17.
knew Jason?
I knew Jason from Central Sound. Like we did.
Okay.
I knew him from the show choir world. So we knew each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason Richardson, how do you remember us asking you to be in the movie, or was it just we told you were going to be in the movie?
I remember I've forgotten so much. It's been 20 years, and I think I'm the oldest one here. I remember you asking me about that, about participating in it, and you had a part for me, and you wanted to use my radio skills and whatnot, and wanted me to record some track things and such. I do remember you inviting me to participating in this. Yes.
Right on. Lee, I'm pretty sure we just told you were going to be in it.
Yeah. And I was stoked. I didn't care. I 2 lines, 10 lines. I wasn't going to remember anything, so it's cool.
And Dione, I'm pretty sure we begged you. If I remember right, you weren't really the most gung-ho about doing it.
No, I don't think so. And I don't think I was the best at doing it.
Me too. Yeah, I agree with me. Yeah.
I was like, dang, you're trying to rip on Dione and say you don't think she was the best either.
No, I didn't feel comfortable. Like I didn't feel like I was good. You know what I mean? There was so many people who were natural at it. And I feel like just like Dione in that.
Mr. Buckwalter, from day one, I'm pretty sure you were wanting to be the killer, weren't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I had that in mind. You know me, I got all the little toys. Perfect thing for me to do, right? Yeah. So.
I pretty much remember you being like, wait a minute, you have a killer in this movie? It's got to be me. It's got to be me. Who's playing the killer? And I think I remember telling Jason, let's make him sweat it for a little bit. Let's tell him we don't know yet, that like I might do it or Jason might do it just to mess with you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That sounds like something you would have done back then.
So Zach, as I said earlier, you eventually, after your one night of filming with us, you kind of took over the behind the scenes stuff. What made you want to do that?
You guys didn't look like you knew what you were doing.
That's a fact.
I'd offer my skills. I didn't really have anything else to do. I was just back from school, and there's things going on, so I was available.
At that time, you weren't doing school for video production, though, right?
No.
No?
I was leaving Purdue, and then it wasn't until after I made a few movies where I went back to school for video production.
That's awesome.
Me,
Uh,
basically to wear 'em.
so Dione, we did. Oh, go ahead, Zach or Jason. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it's all our fault that Zach went and became a video production person.
Yeah, it's all your fault. I went back and got a degree. Yeah.
Okay,
Jerks.
now that you brought that up, I'll start hitting you up for my 5% of your salary.
You are getting my 5%. Stay at home.
Dione, how much convincing did we have to do to let you or to let us film at your theater?
You know, I don't really remember you having to work that hard for getting permission to film at the theater.
Right.
I think you had to work hard to get me on screen.
Yeah, we had 2 days of filming with you. You didn't quit after your first day of filming at the house. We actually got you to show up for the funeral scene.
See, I don't remember the funeral scene filming at all. I remember being at your house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you're in the funeral scene at the end of the movie. Just to let you, spoilers.
Well, not only that, but she doesn't have any lines at the
true.
funeral scene, so maybe she just forgot because she didn't have.
She didn't even look sad that her son was dead. Or whatever.
Her son was Tyler McKenzie. Nobody was sad when he died.
Like, look, real quick. So let me address that. Let's just tangent off real quick. So I watched the movie 3 times today. Why did we ever think Tyler McKenzie deserved a movie made about him? Like, he's an asshole to everybody he talks to. He treats everybody like shit. He treats his girlfriend like shit. He starts the worst petty fight ever with his girlfriend at the picnic scene. Like, I'm watching the movie hating myself. I don't know why we ever wrote this movie.
Well, you know what? It's a Hallmark movie written by dudes. That's what this movie is, man. Like,
and there are a lot of guys who are like that.
So you do remember filming at the house, Dione, but not when we went to the graveyard scene?
Yeah, I remember the house a lot because I couldn't say the lines. Like, I didn't even know how to put my stuff together because I said it differently every time we filmed, I think.
Hey, Dave, do you remember filming at the house? Okay, nothing.
I think Dione might have only had 1 day of shooting because I think we shot at your house and then went right over to the graveyard right afterwards.
Oh, maybe that's why I don't remember.
That could be it.
I think we only did 1 day of filming with Dione and Dave, and Mr. Goodrum were all only one. Dave Lichty were all 1 day. I think.
Where was the graveyard?
It was over on Oak Landon.
Yeah, it's on Oak Landon Road.
Okay.
So where is Mr. Lichty?
He has his own podcast that he does on Thursday nights.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't have dueling podcasts on here. It would have gotten really weird.
And we also tried to get a lot of people that were like severely involved with the film, whereas Dave definitely did help on some aspects, and he was talked about as a possibility. But yeah, so knowing that he had to do his podcast on Thursday nights.
But Dave's red turtleneck stole that scene. You know that, right? That thing was aggressive.
Yeah, the one thing that we will address real quick is Jason and I both reached out to Rachel Lane, who is our other lead female, who I don't believe either of us have talked to in 20 years, but we unfortunately didn't get any response from her. We also reached out
to Cheryl Moore as well.
Yep.
And couldn't get a hold of her, so she played Lee's girlfriend in the movie. So,
watching it today, she literally only has like 2 minutes of screen time and like 5 lines. So when I watched it today, I was like,
but those breasts, though.
Yeah, well, yes, that's a fact.
Right?
There's a reason.
I just remember watching that back on the film, and especially when we had the premiere, and I was just like, "Damn, Cheryl."
There's not many women who can say that their breasts were on 60-foot screens for everybody to look at.
Those
Actually,
breasts
Shane,
needed
there are quite a few women that can probably say that.
Needed a credit of their own at the end of the movie.
So now that we're talking about her breasts in that scene, Lee, do you have any memories when we filmed at your house?
It was pretty awkward. So I was pretty new and dating my girlfriend, now my wife, 20 some years later. So that worked out. It was good. It was fun. Jason lightened the mood because I was pretty nervous about all of it.
So Annette and I shared one scene together. We were all in the basketball scene together. Somebody thought that picking teams, putting Lee and I on a team together against Michael Maier and Chris Meek was a good idea. So we have some good footage of Lee and I playing basketball.
I was impressed, Shane. You actually had some good moves. I was just like, I didn't know Shane could play some ball.
When I was 120 pounds lighter, I played basketball for like multiple years of my life. Like yeah. When I was younger, I actually could move. Now I'm old. So let's see. Zach and Mark were both there. Jason was there. Dione was not here. So the party scene near the end, the party scene at my parents' house.
Hold on, I got to scrub to it.
Yes. Does anybody have any memories from we had a lot of extras that night? Anybody have any specific memories they remember from filming the party scene? Lee's great death sequence happens there.
I remember we had to film that party scene twice or 3 times. I think it was twice. So like if you watch, some of the extras are all one group, and then they magically change to a different group, and then go back to the other group, and then come back. It goes back and forth.
I didn't even notice.
There's one time that it cuts to the kitchen, and there's somebody with just a backwards hat and a shirt on like this. Who was it?
Chris Meek.
I couldn't remember who. I knew it was somebody that was in like another scene.
And he's just sitting
and
there,
he's just like bobbing up and
this.
down. Yeah. When I watched this thing, I couldn't remember who that was. So that was Chris.
And literally, like, it was hilarious because he was dressed one way, and then we were like, we need more people in this sequence. And then he was I forget who did it, but Shane went and grabbed one of his shirts out of his room, and he was like, put this on and put on this hat. And then, he just put on a different costume and kept his back to the camera the entire time.
Yes.
Jerome Pritchard was at that for a little while too, at the party sequence, which he was somebody who, I don't know what's gone on with him in his filmmaking career. So
all I know is he ended up moving to Chicago. He worked on The Next Friday or The Third Friday or Barbershop or something that was filmed up in Chicago. Him and his brother both worked on, but that was the last that I've seen anything from him.
No, one of them black movies, right?
Yeah. I just know that's what it was. I just can't remember which one. Joe has probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie at the party sequence. Jason, do you remember how he made that happen?
Oh God, dude. So one of the most disgusting things ever, for some strange reason, he decided to mix root beer and like Fritos.
Yep.
And he'd chew a bunch of Fritos in his mouth, but then he put root beer in there, and then we filmed that vomit sequence like 5 or 6 times.
Multiple
man. Like
times.
I mean, Shane had to clean that bathroom afterwards, and I do not envy Shane for having to clean that bathroom afterwards because. Shane kept telling him make it more realistic, or make it realistic. So Joe was missing the toilet. Like, I mean, so he's sitting there hitting the entire toilet. It's going backsplashing all over the walls and the floor, and like that. And Mark and I remember while we were filming it, Mark and I just kept looking at each other like, oh my God, look what he's doing to the floor. And Shane's like, it's okay. We'll just keep going, do it again. And we were just like, what is going on here?
So funny thing, now that you bring that up, the fact that I did clean that bathroom, I did not get credit in the credits as a bathroom cleaner.
Oh, you didn't?
But Annette got
just
credit.
Have to do another cut.
Annette got credit for a bathroom cleaning. Do you remember the bathroom you cleaned?
Yeah, that was over at the theater at Consternate, and Michael and I did it together, and we had a lot of fun bonding and just hanging out, cleaning. I don't know what you use, like blood or whatever.
Yeah, it was
the blood
off
the bathroom.
Blood. Yeah.
Oh, the blood was hard to get up, wasn't it?
It was. I just remember it was really sticky and really hard to get off, and it was. I think we were in there for like an hour, like just scrubbing blood.
Well, the funny part is I remember like the day after or 2 days after, Shane walked into the building, and I was working down in Greenwood at this time. Shane walked in to see Dione at Castleton, and she was like, "You're going to go back into that bathroom, and you're going to clean the rest of it." And so Shane had to go in and finish cleaning, just like it was in the grout.
I was going to say the funniest part is there was, until the day Castleton closed, one section of grout that was never cleaned. So literally every time I went into that bathroom, what was that?
It still had the blood.
It still had blood in the grout. Like I missed it when I went and did like the second cleaning, and then like months later I was in there and I was like, "Oh, there's still some blood in the grout here," and it literally stayed until the day you guys closed.
You should have gotten a credit for cleaning the bathroom then, for sure.
I should have. I did
That's
it
the
twice.
one bathroom he's ever cleaned.
You're not wrong. Zach, what do you remember from filming at the party scene?
I was overwhelmed. There was a lot going on. You know, there was just. So,
were you underwhelmed?
Huh?
Were you underwhelmed?
No, overwhelmed. Did I say underwhelmed?
No. Sorry, I was trying.
No, I was. There was just a lot going on. You know, without Jason and Jake, like they had a vision, and at that point, I was like, I've never filmed anything like that before, so this was all new to me. And just trying to get, and also doing the second party was like, what? We got to do what? Not gonna work. Nothing's gonna match up. And they're like, oh, we'll just do it. We need.
I think it was you who filmed that magnificent dance sequence between
Lee and
John Owens and Lee Vidal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was Chris that was dancing with him.
Chris was dancing for a little bit, but then everybody moved off to the side, and then it's just a Lee and John dance off.
So we had two murders there that night. Annette, yours is the easiest to talk about. Do you remember your death scene? Your lack of death scene?
So what's funny is I didn't remember it until like I was watching it, and then I was like, I have my shirt off. Like, when did I do this? But yeah, I was like, I didn't think it was me at first, and then I was like, oh crap, that is me.
So Lee, your death scene was a lot more elaborate. Do you remember how much fun that was?
Oh yeah, I mean not a whole lot of it, but I do remember the awesome shirt I was wearing. So
Do you remember us making you climb up on the ladder and jumping off the ladder, and then after like 3 or 4 takes, you were like, "Look, guys, I'm not doing this anymore."
Broke both my ankles.
I also remember he didn't take his watch off, so he ended up scarring your parents' wall. And you were. I remember Shane. Lee pointed it out to you while we were filming, and Shane just looked up at it and he went, my parents probably won't see it. It was just one of those moments of like,
oh crap,
hey, we're really doing some damage.
We're talking about the party scene, and I'm not even drinking out of my red Solo cup. I apologize.
Yeah.
Cheers to the party scene. I was seen multiple times carrying around a red Solo cup.
Shit.
Are they still living in that house?
They are not. My parents sold that house in 2017 and moved to Arizona.
Wow.
So they lived there.
The phone number to that house is 823-2296. For some reason, that stays in my head.
7646.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so wasn't there like a shower scene filmed at that house, or was that to change the world?
That was a different movie. Wait, which movie?
Let me share that story real quick, though, because Shane assured us that his parents weren't going to be coming home, and it was okay to film at the house. And I'm in their parents' bathroom.
Yes! That was to change the world.
Walks in her bedroom, and I'm standing there in a towel. In the other room talking to Jason about something. And everything else about me since then.
So yeah, that's to change the world, and that was filmed at the same house in my parents' bathroom. Yes. Oh my god, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, we're in the other room, and she walks in, and I'm like, Shane said it was okay.
Oh my god! I so forgot about that.
By that point, you should have known that Shane's a liar. Come on.
Such a liar. Damn it.
So Mark, at the party scene, you and I had our not our final fight, but one more physical fights between us. And I remember when we started it, I said to you, I said, "Hey man, like no holding back. Let's just do this. Let's fight." And it made it into the movie.
Oh, that's right.
It made it. I regretted saying it, but it made it into the movie when you threw me into one wall and then grabbed me and literally picked me up off the ground to slam me into another wall.
Hey, you said make it realistic, right?
Yes, I did. I said, let's do this. Let's make it real. And I regretted it after the second or third take. I was like, we need to hurry up and make this look good so that I don't have to do this anymore.
I remember
I thought that fish take was going to be a goner.
I remember the first time because we filmed like the whole party sequence. We put Shane's parents up in a hotel room.
Yep.
We filmed the whole Shane or the movie experience or party
stuff
sequence, and then we sent everybody who wasn't gonna film home, like because we didn't need them anymore. So that it was just like it was Shane, Lee, me, Mark. I think we filmed Lee's stuff after the party so that he could go, and then we filmed your stuff and like you jumping over the banister off the back porch and everything later that evening. So I have to say one of the impressive feats, in my opinion, for you producing Shane is always like it was a very condensed schedule that got us moving and had to keep going, and you didn't really have it. And we heard criticisms afterwards of people saying like your stuff doesn't always look the best, and it was like, yeah, but we were actually producing film after film after film after film, whereas a lot of people were sitting there shooting for a long time and not producing much at all. So like the way you produced definitely helped launch the way we were making the movie actually happen and get it done on time. So
I really appreciate that, and it was something that felt good that yes, our stuff we did very quickly, and we were putting out, we did 17 projects in 4 years. It felt good that we were on a fast track. Like we were shooting stuff and making sure that everything got shot, and then we were editing while we were getting ready to do the next thing. And like you said, I had guys that were my peers at that time that I was dealing with that were literally like shooting a movie for 2 years and then editing for 2 more years and like just taking forever to like make their stuff because they wanted it to be perfect. And more what I wanted was us to just get the experience of making movies. Like I just wanted to make as many, that's why we did as many shorts as we did back to back, because I just wanted to shoot stuff, I wanted to learn how to edit stuff, and then I wanted to move on to something else. Like I didn't think any of these things were going to be masterpieces. After Consternate, I thought Consternate was always going to be a masterpiece. But
how'd the title come up?
The title was, Jason and I literally went to old Google, like 1999 Google, and we typed in like confusing, mysterious, weird.
And we looked up synonyms.
And then we looked up synonyms.
Oh my God, Google was out in 1999?
I mean, the internet's been around since like 93, bro.
Encyclopedia Britannica, I saw it.
But then it was just we eventually stumbled across the word consternate, or we stumbled across consternation, and I was like, what's consternation mean? And it was like blah blah blah. The like other version of it is consternate, and I said to Jason, how does this sound to you? And he was like, it sounds like the stupid word you were looking for. I don't know. You got to remember, also in like 99 to 2000, I was in like my super artsy phase, like my Darren Aronofsky, like Christopher Nolan from Following phase. Like I just wanted everything to be really weird and not mainstream. Like I wanted it to be a Miramax movie. Like, so I was looking for a single word. Also, I was huge on Clerks and Mallrats, so I wanted a one-word title.
And Scream,
Halloween. They were all one-word titles. I wanted it to be something that was one word that you could be like, did you see Consternate? Not, did you see 7 words long title? I mean, it's dumb, but that's how my mind works. I was gonna say that's how it worked back then, but that's how it still works now.
Sorry, I'm muted. Did he answer the question?
Yeah.
Can you play it back?
No.
I would have to say, of the people that I interacted with that were making films at the same time, so many of them didn't even finish anything. And so the fact that you guys finished that many projects was really the thing that I thought was the most impressive. And a lot of that was the producer, you know, making sure stuff got done.
Didn't we finish one of those films of one of your friends?
Was that the Chrome Lady?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different movie. I did produce The Chrome Lady, so we're good there. The Chrome Lady was shown. We showed The Chrome Lady. I thought we were talking about a different movie that I was fired on after one day. So yeah, let's move on to now Jason, Mark, and I. In November, like right while I'm editing the movie, we had to film the last fight scene. Like, the party scene that we shot in August shows me jumping off the back of my parents' balcony into the darkness. And then for whatever reason, we waited like 4 months to actually film what happened next. And
no.
Yeah, it was November when we filmed. You can see my breath in that scene.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But if you remember correctly, we had a totally different ending, and we filmed that different ending. And we shot it on the front side of Mark's house.
Good call.
Near the pond
I forgot about that.
A completely different ending. There was so much dialogue between the characters.
We had 4 pages of dialogue between you and I. There was
we cut it to nothing.
We cut it to nothing. We was like, why are you doing this? I'm doing this because of this. Wait a minute, why are you doing this? I'm doing it because I feel like I like killing people. Like 4 pages of monologues that we had between us. We got into editing, and I'm cutting this shit together, and like, it's not working at all.
Yeah.
And so Jason and I were like, what are we gonna do? And Jason's like, what if I just pull out my gun and shoot you? And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, what if I don't say anything to you? I just kill you and it's over. And I was like, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. So we literally cut out 4 pages of dialogue, turned it into a gunshot, and that's why we refilmed it in November. I forgot all about it.
Raiders of the Lost Ark right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of those interesting moments, especially being in that scenario, because it was like, I remember us not liking, we didn't have enough light from the original footage either. So it was like, we didn't like the footage a whole lot. So we were thinking about having to reshoot it anyway. And then it was like, why are we, like, if he's on this killing spree and he just killed his girlfriend who's pregnant with his kid, why the hell would he take the time to explain it to anybody?
And do a 4-page monologue about it.
Yeah, it's the classic Bond villain monologue moment of like, I'm just gonna sit here and talk and tell you why everything. It's like,
have you ever killed somebody, Tyler? Do you know what it feels like?
He's gonna pull out the script now.
Have the script with me. Blue binder. The blue binder that you can literally see in almost every single shot of the movie. Look in the background. The blue binder. Oh, you didn't get a blue binder. Well, sorry.
You didn't share the whole script with us either. You only gave me my scenes.
I forgot we did that.
I didn't even get the Polaroid.
Well, you didn't come to auditions. Nice try. That blue binder is in every single Gemini Films or Guam Guys movie after we made Consternate. We literally would find a place to put it in the background as our Easter egg.
Chris, it was the intensity of the moment. He was trying to take my life, so I chose to take his instead. It was total self-defense. Tyler, then why didn't you go to the cops? Call the police and explain to them what happened. You wouldn't have gone to jail. Chris, I don't care about jail. When I killed that bastard, I felt an extreme amount of power. I felt like no one could stop me. I felt the desire to do it again. Tyler, you felt the desire to kill people? Chris, exactly. It's like the first time you taste something, you get addicted to it, like a lot. You want more of it. Something sour. Your mouth craves the sour to fulfill the desire. That's what it felt like. I had a desire to kill people. I needed to. I wanted to. I wanted to kill every person I saw. Yeah, that was what was in the script. That went on for 4 more pages.
You guys feel bad. I had to film that.
That would have got
Thank God I didn't bring any lights.
I'm thanking Zach for getting that put out of the movie.
Oh man, but yeah, when we filmed that final death scene, I remember we had to run a super long extension cord out of Mark's house into the woods, and we had to hang up a light so we'd have some sort of something so you could see in the back, because we almost shot it in night vision, but then we decided against that.
Well, because we saw Rollerball. Wait, no, Rollerball hadn't come out yet. Never mind. We hadn't seen Rollerball.
Yeah, we decided not to shoot in night vision, and and that whole sequence, it's hilarious too, because obviously Mark and I have never been the same body type, especially even now. He's way smaller than I ever am, and but yeah, so here you have this guy who is a little bit more fit and like 4 or 5 inches taller than me, who's just sitting there going around and killing people throughout the whole movie. And then at the last possible second, the mask comes off and, oh, it's Jason. Wait a minute. How do you shrink and get fatter?
The best part is in that final fight scene, Mark's walking through the woods. I literally have to jump to get on his shoulders to pull him down. And then we scuffle on the ground. And then we both stand up. And you're like 4 inches shorter than me. And it's like, why did I have to jump to get on your shoulders?
But yeah, it was you know, that's why you get creative.
Well, I remember at one point.
You're like Danny DeVito, Jason.
I remember at one point we wanted somebody different in the killer costume for every scene, because psychologically we wanted the killer to look like how the person who was being killed would envision them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we scrapped that idea real quick. That was dumb.
Yeah, we definitely scrapped it once Mark said he wanted to be the killer and in the costume. We were just like, you know what, screw it, let's just go with this, run with it. So, Mark, you're on screen. Did you die on screen?
No, Mark has the sex scene and then he's done with the movie.
Well, if you count the sex scene as 9, yeah, I guess.
That was you. That was you on the bottom.
Because here's the thing, like the whole like virgin or like if you have sex you die. We wanted to flip that. We wanted to be Mark and his girlfriend have sex, and then they're not seen for the rest of the movie.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
So Mark can be in Consternate too.
Mark can be the killer in whatever he wants to be in.
Yeah, we're making a mold of the knife. We're not going to run around with the real knife this time, right?
Do you still?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you still have the real knife?
Hang on.
Oh, I was hoping this was going to happen. Yes.
Oh my God!
Oh, there it is,
dude.
No,
that's beautiful.
a knife.
Oh.
I think Shane just had a moment.
Hold on.
Somebody get that boy a mop.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I'm not going to put it on because it'll mess up my great new blonde hair. But I still have Mark's mask.
Oh, there she is. Haven't seen that. Well,
I should have had that ready and not had to jump off screen. So Mark, while we're having great stories from you, you and John Dichter did the music for the movie. Like, what was your process for doing that?
Oh man, we didn't know what we were doing. Yeah, everything was
like the filmmakers who gave it to you.
Just everything was analog. So it was like it was a 24-track recorder. Just doing little parts, trying to sync things up, and then we had no time code for the film or anything, so we're just kind of winging it. And then we had to redo it a bunch of times, and going tape to tape, really old school. Now it's so easy to record. I mean, you can do it on your phone.
So you did it tape to tape, and then put it on the CD that you gave me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So yep.
Do you remember what main instruments you guys used?
Well, just keyboards, drums,
Nice.
bass. Well, because remember you get the little funk part for your
funk part. Yep. Yep.
And my death scene. I mean, sex scene.
Your sex scene. Yep.
Yeah. And just that, and then just winged it. Yep.
Dude, it's your music is ingrained in my head. Like when I fire up that movie, like I know every note that is going to be played through the entire thing. Like. For me, it's great, dude. I absolutely love it. Somewhere I have the CD, like the CD that we made of like all the specific tracks, but like when I watch the movie, I know your music and it's great.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
That was me and Justin, like stuff we were writing before that. So we just do it in the, we put it in here as a movie.
Yeah, the self-indulgent stuff was a whole lot of fun to throw in there.
Now, was the self-indulgent stuff already written before the movie, or did you guys write it for the movie?
Oh yeah, it was 90, 98. I think that we already had a recording. We were already recording. So, yeah.
Jaybird, you said you had a question.
Yeah, what was your thinking process for like? So the scene would be with you on the phone, and then you hear the creepy music, and then they would cut to someone at the theater, the person you're talking to, and then you wouldn't hear the creepy music. But then when it came back to you, it was a creepy music. What was your thought process of having the creepy music play with you during that phone conversation and not just you when you're just by yourself, not on the phone with someone? Does that make sense?
It does, but you're backwards. What it was anytime I tried to call Jason, when I called Jason, it played the creepy music and it showed empty scenes of his house where he wasn't there.
So it was trying to be.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of the scene where you called a girl up.
Yeah, the Sarah scene, right?
The Sarah scene.
Yeah, and the creepy music was playing.
I don't think that was.
I don't think it was creepy music.
Well, the real eerie music.
But there's a continuity where the music changes moods from each phone conversation. So each person that's talking, the music actually changes with each cut. Is that what you're talking about, Jason?
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. I guess I just didn't think that it was like creepy music when it was on me. But it could be.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Like something's about to happen to you. So I was trying to understand the mentality or the thought process with that and whatnot. That's all good.
Yeah. So every single person on this call was at the Castleton Arts premiere on December 19th of 2000. We showed the movie at Castleton Arts, where a lot of it was filmed, where Dione was the manager. We did it in Cinema 2. I think we had 2. I think we had about 200 people show up that night. Really awesome turnout, in my opinion, for a 80-minute or 73-minute short horror film.
And people bought concessions. I loved it.
People bought, because that was how we bartered with Dione for letting it, because we did it at midnight.
That was awesome. I'm like,
no,
like
you're right.
It was
money,
9 o'clock.
You know? It was 9 o'clock. You're right.
Because Dione had a promotional screening at 7, and she convinced them not, or she didn't put a 9 o'clock movie on the schedule.
That's what it was.
And they didn't catch it, and they didn't care at that point. So then, we got to have a full premiere with with the concession stand opening. We had 200 people, and one of them being Jane. From the Indiana Film Commission.
Yep.
Yeah, so like she was awesome to have there. We had and I mean, like, people came out dressed to the nines. We had some people that Jaybird and I know that were in tuxedos that evening and like wearing like full on like dresses for like prom and stuff. Like,
I have a photo of 4 of us that all wore leather jackets that night, Lee being one of them.
You're welcome.
I remember the group that I was hanging out with, which were the Greenwood people. We went and did a pre-Applebee's dinner.
Nice.
Over the Clearwater. And we were just excited and whatnot. But I remember we went to Applebee's first and then came over for the premiere. That was a fun night. That is one of the best memories I can just look back on. And I remember that whole thing that night. It was great.
It was fantastic.
Annette, you have thoughts about that night? Because I have a great photo of you that night, of your family that night. You weren't even in the photo.
Yeah, I remember the pictures I saw, I'm wearing like shiny, like Britney Spears backup dancer pants, like just like mirror ball. So, and then, yeah, I brought a lot of people I think that I just met from college that I was shooting another film with, and there's a lot of family members and stuff. So I think I brought a big crew of people with me.
You
so,
did.
Yeah.
You definitely did.
The Miller twins were there. Alex and Graham.
I
worked at Castanards with us.
I had a bunch of random friends there. Oh my god. I have a great photo from that night. Michael Scott was working that night. He's unfortunately no longer with us, but I have a great photo of him behind the concession stand that night. Makes me really happy. Yeah, man, that was a blast. We got cookies from some of our friends.
Oh yeah. Nikki Sayer was working over at not Once Upon a Child. What's the Cookies by Design? That's what it was. The cookie store that was in Castleton for a little bit there, and she made custom cookies for us
with our logo at that time on them.
Yep.
That really stupid hand-drawn shitty logo that I regret ever making.
Come on, man.
The Guam Guys logo?
The Guam Guys logo is retarded.
He made it on Windows Paint.
Yeah, I made it on Windows Paint. I also
see the pixelization.
It immediately became known as Gay White American Males, and so that's awesome.
Wait, I thought I meant General Words a Minute. Wait, what
it does mean General Words a Minute because Jason and I had typing class together our junior year of high school, and that's where this dumbass name came from that at the time I thought was great, and it would still be good today if I'd made a better logo for it.
I think the logo fits with the period of the piece. It fits with the fact that we're talking about pagers and we're using landline phones, talking about going to the video store. Like, it just really fits with the time period.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint with the movie is I think like 30% of this movie is just me on the phone with somebody.
30? And that's lowballing that number. I think it's like half at least, man.
Yeah, and I don't know where that came from. Was I so obsessed with Scream that the few phone calls in Scream made me think that's how I needed to write a movie?
You were obsessed about people coming to that damn party. I don't know how many times you said, you coming to that party, right?
That's what happens when you have a star who wrote the movie who doesn't know his script. Like, you're coming to the movie, right? Or the party, right? Yeah. So
some of those lines in that movie, though.
Some of the lines are terrible, and the worst part is my phone conversation with Lee. We should have done something better than what we did, because literally when it got cut together, I repeat every line that Lee says. Yeah, so Helen and I will be at the party. So you and Helen are coming, right? So yeah, Helen and I will be at the party. I'm glad to hear that you and Helen are coming to the party. It's like, did I really think that's how I should cut that scene together? Like, for real?
Well, I mean, you were on a tight time frame because we pulled a Hollywood. We set the premiere date before we were done editing or done shooting.
We set the premiere date, and the guy who was editing the movie for us, Zach Mason, his family went out of town for like 2 weeks. They went out of town from Thanksgiving until like the second week of December. So he was going to come back like a week before the movie had to be shown, and we had like 10% of the movie edited. So Zach gave me a key to his parents' house. I would park down the street.
Because he wasn't allowed to be there.
I wasn't authorized to be at his parents' house. I would park at the end of their street. I would walk down the street and go into their backyard and go in through their kitchen door. And I would stay there from I would go when it was dark, so it was 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I would edit till like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And as it started to get sunny, I would hightail my ass back to my car and then go home. And I did that for like 2 to 3 straight weeks while his family was out of town to make sure this movie got edited. Wow. Because when Zach's family went out of town, we had maybe like 20. Because what I was doing was I was going over there every day and sitting there while he was doing the editing, and I was telling him what I wanted to do. And I was like, logging tapes while he was doing editing and stuff like that. So yeah, when I would go home during the day, I would log tapes that I would then take back to his house at night and start doing the edits of what I logged during the day.
So you were there together.
The first like 2 weeks we were there together. But then when his family and him went out of town for 3 weeks,
you were sneaking in and
I was sneaking into the house and editing by myself. Teaching myself Premiere. Like, he taught me a lot of Premiere, but like I had to teach myself the things that he didn't teach me.
Well, and the other interesting part of that was here you were learning on the fly, doing the editing, but you also ran into issues where you were editing and you were like, we never shot that sequence. Like, so yeah, that was at least twice that he shot sequences or we didn't shoot sequences. And he was like, I what do we do? And so I know like one of them is when he shows up at Castleton Arts and he walks in and he talks to Amber and he's trying to find out where I'm at. And she's talking about a dead body being found in the dumpster.
Time out.
Dead bodies back there.
Time out. Let's address this real quick. Amber steals the movie. That scene that you're talking about where I come in and I'm looking for you, and then she was like, there's a dead body found in the dumpster. The new guy quit, so now I'm stuck working tonight. And then I'm like, cool, so you're coming to my party, right? And she's like, I've seen the movies. Dead bodies, parties, they don't go together. I was like, of all the shit that we wrote, like, Amber nailed her character and was so flawlessly perfect.
Well, because you wrote it for her.
We did, yes.
I loved Aaron. I thought Aaron's death was the best death in the movie, and like her in the acting of it, it was legit real. Like
she screams, I was like,
she
really
could be in a
loud.
What's that?
She screams really loud.
She was perfect.
And the problem is I didn't edit it for the movie, so like I'm watching the movie at like a normal volume, and then it gets to that scene and she screams, and it's twice as loud as what was like the second before.
Did y'all put the trash on the stairs there?
No, we just didn't clean it up.
Yeah.
Did it really get that bad like that?
Well, yeah, because it was those drop-ins. So like anytime there was wind.
Wow.
It would blow in from everywhere else and fall.
Wow.
I do
like, that's good props there.
That is definitely,
you're welcome.
I think, my favorite. I think that was definitely my favorite death scene that happens in the movie. Just
better
because
than mine?
of the what?
Well, we'll
better than yours.
We'll talk about your death scene in a second because filming yours was awesome. But let's talk about Mike and Aaron.
While we were filming that Mike and Aaron sequence, and Aaron just kept screaming every time Mark came down. And dude, she was a trooper. She must have screamed like 12, 15 times easy.
Oh, sure.
And so like here we are filming this sequence, and like she just keeps screaming at the top of her lungs. Freaking the Billboard Cafe was right around the corner, or it was Awards. I can't remember.
Billiards Cafe.
Okay, whatever the case may be. So there were people next door, shooting pool, drinking, whatever. And then there's other places around that area. And she's screaming to high heaven, and not a single cop car showed up. Nobody came around, poking around, going, why is some girl screaming constantly? Like,
for
it's
an
one of those
hour?
moments where you're like, I'm kind of losing faith in humanity right now because nobody's checking on this. So.
I mean, from Scream 1 till the end, it was literally like an hour of her screaming every couple of minutes. And not once did anybody check on us. But that's a totally different story from when we filmed Zach's death scene.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
Different
Zach.
neighborhood.
Well, okay.
we were on a different side of town.
So we were over at 79th and Fall Creek.
Right in front of the Water's Edge. Which I don't think is it still there?
No, it's not. It closed a long time ago.
Okay. I don't go out there. I don't know.
So tell the story about your shooting your death scene. Let's go.
During my death scene, I'm covered in blood and I'm stumbling and I fall to the ground. And sure enough, cop coming out of a bar rolls up on us and sees me on the ground. I'm not moving because the camera's not moving.
And we put all that fake blood, fake blood.
And these guys are like, "Oh no, we're just filming a movie. It's fine." And I'm just not moving. And then all of a sudden, I just turn my head. Yeah, I'm okay. Drives off.
Oh,
Hey, well,
that's right.
no, hold on. He didn't drive off right away. He was still like, "What's going on?" Like you had to stand up, and all three of us had to walk over to his car. And then he was like, "We were like, nah, man, we're shooting a movie. Like he's totally fine. Here's the camera." Like we had to go up and talk to him because he wasn't having it.
So we got.
So actually, I think wasn't it Shane in the costume that night?
Yeah, I think that was me that night. I don't think Mark.
I got tossed by Shane and not
Yeah,
Mark?
you did.
Oh, that means I jumped. I didn't get tossed.
Oh, I hate you. I really hate you. So Jaybird, let's open it up to any questions. But before we started recording this, you had a lot of questions about the movie. I'm curious if there's any more.
I couldn't believe. So after all this time, when I rewatched it last night, I thought I had just the one line. Guess who's in the motherfucking house? That is the only line I thought I had in this movie, and I had forgotten. So when I rewatched it last night, I'm like, I didn't realize I had all these other lines, and then I didn't realize how much real life actually played into my character.
So real quick,
and then I was sitting there, I was like, wait a second, and then that whole Liz Dewhurst thing comes up in the movie, and I'm thinking like, oh my god, I didn't realize that was in the movie. And then I'm sitting there thinking about Lee got all pissed at me at Clearwater that day, and Jason was pissed at me, and the whole staff was pissed at me because I said something bad to this girl. And I'm like, I didn't realize all that dialogue was in that movie. And I'm just like, why is this in the movie? You know?
So real quick,
I forgot about I was cutting cocaine lines on the table.
Yeah. Oh, that was all you. That was all you. We had no idea you were going to do that. And all of a sudden, he was like, hey, you guys got some sugar? And we were like, what are you talking about? Or flour or whatever. And we were like, what's up? And he's like, I think my character would do some lines of cocaine. And we were like, okay.
I nearly crapped my pants when I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize they had me say all that. You know,
my favorite part about that is the line "fuck you, Tyler." That's not in the script, but I was so fucking with you that night while you were doing your monologues. That literally just came out of your mouth, and that's pure Jason Richardson emotion because you were mad at me.
Oh, dude.
And see, I cannot even remember a lot of that. I just remember guess who's in the motherfucking house, and I thought I was done.
Dude, watch that scene again because you ramble on for so much that you see me go, all right, man, have a good night. Because I'm like, how the fuck are we going to end this scene? He's not going to stop talking. And I'm like, all right, man, have a good night. And you literally just slap my hand away and keep talking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not kidding. One of my favorite sequences is right in that same spot where Annette takes a beer away from you, and like while they're having this talk and this
Jason
interaction,
takes it away from me.
Oh, okay. Whoever takes it away from you, in the background, you hear Shane go, "Oh."
That's one of my favorite moments too. Jason takes it out of my hand is when he's finally leaving, and I'm like, all right, man, have a good night. And Jason like takes the beer out of my hand and puts it on the table that he was sitting on. Oh, like I'm just so sad that I can't touch my beer anymore.
Annette had the best line. I forgot what it was. It was something catchy, but she was on her way down to the basement waiting for you to come and give her some. What was that line that Annette had?
I'll be waiting for you.
I'll be waiting for you, or don't make me wait for you, or some shit like that.
It's like, come get this or something.
Waiting.
Something like that.
But the way she said it, though, was just like, I'm fucking ready. You know what I mean? Like
something that probably wasn't actually in the script. Because let me tell this story real quick. After Annette got cast and her and I were boyfriend and girlfriend in the movie, we started hanging out and we would do our scenes together and like go over the dialogue and whatnot. And there are literally moments where Annette would go, "Yeah, I'd never say that, so I'm not gonna say that." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, I'm gonna rewrite your dialogue. That's not how a girl would say something. That's how a guy would write it. So I'm gonna write my own dialogue. And I was like, "Wait, what? I'm the writer of this. Like, you can't change my..." And she's like, "No, A girl wouldn't say that. I'm gonna change it so it's not as stupid.
the whole sequence where
the three
Sarah's
of the girls
telling about
yeah
it's the three girls and Sarah talking about how she's pregnant. Like they literally rewrote that entire. Three of them said, "Give us half an hour."
I literally crossed out every
line. Yes. I remember before we shot that scene, and Annette and I were hanging out, and she was like, "Hey, here's the thing, real quick. This scene where it's the three girls," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a great scene, right?" And she's like, "Oh, it's a great scene. I've rewritten it now. Every word of dialogue is different." And I say, what?" And she's like, "None of the three of us girls would talk the way you wrote us, so I wrote it like girls would talk." And
that's our girl.
God. Yeah, thank God, because. Yeah, what I had written was terrible for that.
So, Lee, what was your favorite part of doing the movie?
Oh, dude, hands down, Joe with the Fritos, man. Like I can still smell his breath. His breath still stinks from that day, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, like something that you did. What was your favorite?
Yeah, what was your favorite moment that you were involved in?
No, actually doing the basketball scene was fun. That was that Fall Creek Valley Middle School, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was just fun. Just hanging out, man. Just felt like it was just cool to have that experience. And a lot of people, you film a bunch of stuff just on your phone, and you got these videos you can go back and watch on Facebook and all that. And to have a movie where we all were just kind of playing around and it's just making up a character, and it was fun for me because I always idolized those dudes and the ladies in high school that did the musicals and stuff, and I never had the courage to do that. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
I think the thing that's incredible about it, and again, watching it last night, was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize they were in this, and just looking at that diverse group of people all coming together and being a part of that, I just think was just it was just nice. And I don't think that, I don't know. Everybody's just so different, and they're in their own individual, and no one was judgmental, or everyone just kind of had a good time. And it's just a diverse group of people, and to have that many different type of people all together and just have a good time, I think it made for a great experience.
It was awesome.
No doubt.
Dione, what do you think was your favorite part?
Well, I thought that it was fun that I was like not all that much older than the person I was a mother to.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
Wasn't I Mayor's brother too? Or I mean,
mom.
Brother.
You were Dave's mom. Yep.
And you guys are like the same age, I think.
I was thinking close to
that. Yep.
You pulled it off well.
You have this motherly vibe about you even 20 years ago before you were a real mother.
All right, Dione was not sad about her son at that funeral, though. I was like, well, how come you didn't make her cry, man?
I was trying to find my copy of Consternate, and I don't know if I ever got one.
Neither of the releases you got?
I've got multiple copies at the theater that I can go and get for it.
Okay.
It's also on YouTube now if you want to show it to your daughter or anything.
Well, I was
she can't watch that.
My part.
What?
Of it. Not
that Buckwalter sex
can you make
alone,
one where you bleep all the cuss words? The movie wouldn't even air. It would just be like, dude, I'm having a party.
Guess who's in that house?
Yeah.
Jaybird, what was your favorite scene that you were a part of in the movie?
Guess who's in the motherfucking house?
I guess who's in the motherfucking house was probably my favorite. I like I said, I didn't think I was in it that much, and then I had a little bit more than what I thought, but I just enjoyed watching everyone do their thing and such. And so it was a good collaborative come together with a lot of diverse, different personalities. And just it just all kind of flowed, you know, and I thought that was a neat experience about it. So, but you know, my favorite scene is Aaron's death, hands down, in the movie. Academy Award, everything.
Oh man, I miss her and Mike Zemeckis. They were both awesome for that. Easter egg, Jason, do you remember what movie Mike Zemeckis asked for a ticket to?
How you doing, man? What are you guys here to see? One last time.
It was the like show choir one that you were trying, or that you were thinking about doing at the time.
Yeah.
One more time again, or one time again, or some shit like that. Once again. It was 3
Something
words.
like that.
One more time, or something like
Sam.
that.
So Annette,
Mark, what is your favorite memory from filming? Like, you were there almost every single day we ever filmed. You showed up.
Well, I can say this. I don't know about favorite, but remember the first ending scene?
Yep.
That was shot up front of the art. And remember, there was a septic leak there, so the ground soaked, and it was muddy.
Yes.
And remember we pulled Zach's car up.
Oh yes.
And remember we had to push him out. He got stuck.
Yes.
And remember I dropped the mask. You ran the mask over. He got the suit muddy, so we had to take the suit off and clean it.
Like the mask, your knife, like there was like 3 or 4 things that got dropped in the mud that night.
Oh yeah, dropped everything. We had to find it. Remember, because we didn't have enough light, so
we had to go back like the next day because it was so dark that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I said, be careful, man. The ground's soft. There's no sink.
I forgot all about that.
Oh yeah.
When we drove Zach's car out there to try to get more lighting from his headlights.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that footage has to be somewhere.
That old reliable K car.
That would be my favorite.
No. I had the K car.
Oh,
Zach had
right.
what was
Plymouth.
it? Plymouth. No, the green car.
And a Dodge Shadow.
The Dodge Shadow. Yeah.
That footage, Shane, we probably recorded over it because we never had money, and we kept recording over and over stuff. So yeah. Annette, what was your favorite?
Yeah.
I think my favorite memory was actually cleaning up the bathroom with Michael.
Nice.
We just had so much fun with that. But
what was your favorite scene in the movie?
Oh, that's hard. I just like seeing everybody at the party. Like for me, it's just a reminiscing of like old friends. Like my friend Heather's in there.
Yep.
Like I see that and I'm like, oh my God, it's Heather, you know? And like John Owens, and just seeing everybody in the film is just like, I don't know, gives me all the warm fuzzies. And like, I'm just so glad that I was a part of it. And I'm glad that you guys did it and we put it together. And that it's still something we're talking about 20 years later, which like, who would have thought?
Mind blowing.
Thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't shut up about it. It's the only thing I have to hold on to. I wore shiny shirts, baby.
Hold on, because you don't know what consternate means.
I do know what it means. I looked it up.
It's the act of consternation, which is to throw into dismay or disbelief.
Or confusion.
Or confusion.
Confusion was the word that got us to consternate because we wanted the ending to be confusing. So we got to consternate from confusion. To throw into confusion, to hinder or dismay is the official definition of consternation.
So Zach, what was I know you didn't do much on screen, but what was your favorite thing that you were a part of during that film, during filming?
But Zach got the stolen from Clerks line.
That's true.
I know what you mean, man. This job would be great if it wasn't for those fucking customers.
We made Zach our Randall.
So yeah, I mean that's probably the second best scene in the movie, in my opinion. I have to say. No, I think a favorite scene. I mean the party scene, you know, is probably. I think that had the most action. I think my favorite part was just getting the phone call and getting invited to the party, and then taking over responsibilities.
Which thank God you did.
But I mean, it was just really. I mean, I think I kind of feel the same sentiment Annette did. It's like it's really just the journey. I mean, the long hours, the no pay, the arguing, the fighting, the constantly changing things. Not, that was worth every moment.
Literally, probably outside of like family life,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the Consternate premiere is probably one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. Like, it was to be able for Shane and I to start dreaming about making the movie, for everybody to come together to make the film, and then for us to pull off showing a digital movie. Well, first of all, that's what I was going to talk about with the editing. Was nobody had editing software at this point in time. Like, here we are shooting on digital video, and we didn't know anybody besides Zach's dad, who was running the IUPUI media arts department, who had the capability to even do editing at home. So here we were banking on that scenario, and Shane having to do what he did. And so for him to do all the editing, and for Mark to put the music in, and then Shane had to borrow. We had 2 different projectors, one from Shane's house and one from his church. And we actually put them in the corners of the back of Cinema 2 and had to overlap the images because the bulbs weren't strong enough to actually do it by themselves.
Oh yeah, that was early on stuff.
Oh dude, we were there so late the night before the premiere, like setting up those two projectors. And but
Dave Lichty was there with us.
Yeah, he did the color test.
And we had the 2 projectors, we lined them up, and that took an hour or 2 to get them lined up, to get the video splitting soft like cables, to make sure that the one DVD was going to both projectors and get them overlapping.
Sorry, go ahead.
To get them overlapping so that there wasn't any ghosting or anything weird going on. And I remember it was 3 or 4 in the morning when we finally got everything perfect. And I remember looking at Jason and going, I kind of just want to watch the whole movie. And he said, let's do it. So we were there until like 5 or 6 in the morning that night, because once we finally got everything perfect, I just wanted to watch our movie on the big screen in Cinema 2 by ourselves.
Wow.
It was such a blast and an amazing thing to see something from the beginning until, and that big of an ending for that film, like as far as like the premiere and having 200 people show up and friends and family, and for it to be something. I'm not kidding you when I say it was really strange 6 months, 8 months after we watched the movie in Castleton Arts. I walked into a McDonald's and I was ordering at the counter, and this dude went, you're the killer. And I was like, the hell? Like, I'm in the middle of my normal day, and I'm like, what? And he was like, I watched your movie. I'm friends with Shane. And I was like, oh. And here I am, like, 6 months afterwards, and like, holy crap, like somebody actually remembers the fact that they came to see that movie. And like, I didn't even know who this dude was, but yeah, it was the premiere is my favorite. But being able to just spend so much time, like, it's one of those things as we grow older, just like we don't get to spend as much face-to-face time. Everybody's got other responsibilities. People move out of state, whatever the case may be. We don't get that time that we did in our early 20s, where we were kind of very, who cares? Let's just do whatever we want to do. So thank you to everybody for being on the call too.
I wanted to mention real quick to you, Shane, in rewatching it last night, something that I don't know. No one has probably thought about this.
Let's do it.
It's something that I just picked up on and I thought was special to me. And it may sound like I'm on crack or I'm drunk or when I say this or out of my mind, but just there were these
or on sugar.
There were these little moments in watching it that you've captured on film. A piece of our lives being the Castleton Arts Theater, and there were a couple times where you had shots of, actual customers coming out of the movie theater. Thought that was neat to just kind of, you can always have just a picture of a photo, right? And it's still, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that, whatnot. But to actually have a piece of time and movement of movie going life at that theater and actually seeing real customers come out, it just really kind of took me back, because there have been plenty of times I've been sitting in the parking lot or standing in the parking lot at that theater when movies break and people come out the doors and such. And I've literally felt like I was sucked back to that period. And so it's nice that you kind of captured that real moment on film, and it'll always just, remind us of the good times at that theater, and just to see some live motion from it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate that. Jason, what were you saying?
It was Heartland. It was the Heartland Film Festival for the people who were exiting, because we were like, dude, we just got to make sure nobody's face is in it, and we can just shoot, because there were so many people pouring out of those auditoriums at that time that we could make it look super busy.
We literally parked one of our cars over in the far left of the parking lot, and then just stood at the back of my car, like, made sure nobody noticed that we were just shooting film there. One of our guerrilla filmmaking moments on this. Like, here's the thing that makes me happiest about all of this, and about still seeing everybody today, is like, yes, I was obsessed with Kevin Smith. Yes, I was obsessed with Scream. Yes, I was 19 years old and thought that I could write and direct and co-star in a movie. And as ridiculous as all of that shit sounds, it happened. We made it happen. Like, I am beyond grateful to every person that's on this call, and all of the people that are missing from this call, because they made this shit happen. Like, this was a pipe dream of mine and Jason's. We literally, at that time, I never thought I would make it. I'm sorry. I wanted to make more movies, but I was like, this might be the only movie I ever make. I've got to pay homage to Scream and Kevin Smith and all of the shit that I care about. I had Halloween. I have to throw it all into one movie. I have to do this all at once. And it's a hodgepodge of retarded, but we made it work. Like, I look back on it, and it's sad because we started making it as a serious horror film, and about halfway through, we unfortunately leaned into the comedy aspect of it. When the killer kills Tony and steals his beer, that's
a jump the shark moment.
That's a jump the shark moment. Like, that's not a serious horror film anymore, and we leaned into the comedy. When I watched it,
that's what Scream did. So that's what Scream did.
That's what Evil Dead did.
When I watched it today over and over again, there were literally moments in this movie that all 3 times I watched it, I laughed out loud at them. It's unfortunate that we wanted to make a serious horror film, and we ended up just making a fun, goofy comedy horror thing for our friends to enjoy. As Jason and I have talked about, every year we show this movie to our staff at the theater that Jason and I work at now. This year, the day after we showed it to our staff, I wasn't able to make it that night. I walked into work the next day. I literally came through the front doors, and the first words I heard were my usher scream to me, "What's up, Tyler McKenzie? When's the next party?" And I had to stop in my tracks, because I literally, 19 to 20 years later, I just had an 18-year-old kid ask Tyler McKenzie when his next party is.
Oh my God.
Did you feel relevant again?
I felt relevant again.
Shane, so what was your favorite scene in the movie?
The older I get, they stay the same age.
Probably my favorite moment in the scene, seriously, is the fight between me and Mark at my parents' house. And it's because I feel like we didn't hold back. Like, when I watch that scene now, when he grabs me from the front door and throws me to the first closet under the stairs, you can hear the pain in my voice when I hit it. And I go, oh! Mark grabs me again, picks me up, and throws me into another closet. I feel like of all the scenes I was in, that's the most real scene. Because a lot of my other scenes are pretty dumb. And like I said, I'm an asshole, so I deserved what Mark did to me. Annette and I were actually talking earlier today while she was watching the movie about the picnic scene. And it's just like, why are they a couple? Like, why did we think that the picnic scene was a good scene to address that these two characters are a couple? Like, we talk for a minute, and then a minute later, I'm telling her that I'm not going back to college, and then a minute later, it turns into the stupidest fight any couple could ever have in their entire lives.
Well, come on, man. People, when they're 18, 20, 19 years old, do stupid fights for no good reasons, man. I mean, like...
Thanks for trying to make me feel better, but I still watch that scene and cringe.
Well, I'm just
like,
saying,
she's
really,
just questioning my life choices, and I flip the fuck out over it. Why don't you want to go to college? What? You don't want to be with me if I'm not a college guy? What?
It's bad dialogue, man.
It's terrible dialogue.
Do you know what I do not understand about so many scenes is why did you always put your head in my lap? I don't think I've ever like had discussions with my boyfriends ever where it's like, hey, you can lay in my lap and let's talk. Like, where did that come from?
I do it.
You do? Okay.
There were a lot of 80s movies where I think guys did that.
They laid in the lap
in 80s movies for some reason. Okay. I think.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going for.
Okay.
That's the decade of movies she's omitted from her collection. It was like 70s, 60s, 50s, 90s, 80s movies, just not on the list.
Yeah, it seemed so not natural to me, but if that's a genre, then
it was okay. Here we go. Here's the answer.
But that was his moment. I got this. Moments where he opened up to you, though.
I got this. That's the moment where I was becoming vulnerable. So you had the above position. So that's exactly what it was. I was being put in a vulnerable position because I was talking to you about my feelings.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
So,
I'm sorry.
We're not to get off subject here.
Go for
joking, Shane and I have had multiple discussions about
sequels.
Actually following up.
Oh yeah,
Consternate with sequels, or as Mark likes to call it, C2.
C2. Yep.
So, yeah.
Do you remember some of the bizarre ideas we've come up with?
Oh man, I remember at one point Chris Geller was going to go to become a detective in a different city or something, and he was going to keep killing, but like hide his own killings.
It was literally Dexter before Dexter was Dexter.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yep.
Was there any other ones that you can remember?
So like 10 years ago, around the 10-year anniversary, we had the idea of Chris Geller was actually in a coma after his attack at the theater, and he wakes up from the coma and finds out that all of his friends are alive and well, and he dreamt the entire movie.
Like it was General Hospital?
No, it was like Dallas. Or
you watched General Hospital?
Is that the one with the snow globe at the end?
Snow globe.
Yeah. This was like our Dallas, where it was like somebody shot JR, but then it wasn't really that JR got shot. It was all a dream. Jason was gonna wake up and like Tyler was alive. Tyler and Sasha were married and like all this other shit. And then Jason was so mad that his friends moved on with his life that he became the killer in the second movie.
So you're gonna write this and we're gonna shoot it, right?
No, we've got a better idea now. An even better idea.
Okay.
Let me throw you my pitch that I sent to Jason like a month ago. Was it a month ago? Okay. So for whatever reason, I was sitting around about a month ago, and I was loving on our movie, and I was thinking how we could bring it into 20 years later. Here is the story. After Jason leaves the funeral at the end of the first movie, he goes on
you got to give a small synopsis, Shane. You can't give them everything that you just, because if we do it, then you're going to totally ruin it.
These people deserve to be on the inside. Plus, we're never going to do it. So here's the story. So Jason, after the post-credit scene, when he gets picked up by the girl who was his girlfriend at the time, he goes on a cross-country killing spree. He ends up in a small New England town a few months later. In this small New England town, he decides to settle down and stop killing people and join the police force. So he makes a 20-year career Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, he becomes a professor. Apologies.
Teacher. Yeah.
He becomes a teacher. Sorry. I jumped ahead of myself for a second. He becomes a teacher in this small town, marries a woman, has some children, is happy with his new life. His killing is all behind him. He's done. It's okay now. All of a sudden, murders start happening in this small town. The opening scene of the movie shows Chris Geller killing someone. Literally kills them, pans up. We see the killer's face. It's Chris Geller. He has not lost his desire to kill people in the last 20 years. However, children at the school where Chris Geller teaches at start getting killed. And then parents of those children at the school where Chris Geller teaches start getting killed off. This whole time you think, oh, Chris Geller is killing all these people. Chris Geller is still the killer. About halfway through the movie, all of a sudden, Chris Geller's son is murdered. There is another killer out there. A killer who is targeting Chris Geller. Who might this killer be? Oh, we connect back to our first movie. The killer that Jason killed in the first movie, he took his son to the movies that night. He wanted his son to watch a movie with him before they killed their first person as a father-son duo. However, Chris Geller ruined that by killing this boy's father. This boy spent the next 20 years following Chris Geller across the country, ending up in the same New England town as Chris Geller, joining the police force in the New England town where Chris Geller now lives. The police officer who has been trying to help solve these murders is actually the killer.
And has been covering them up.
And has been covering up the murders, trying to blame them on Chris Geller. This murderer, the child from our first film who you never saw, has a child of his own. So even after Chris Geller bests this police officer and kills him for killing his son, the police officer's son, the grandson of the man Jason murdered in the first movie, takes his revenge out on Chris Geller and kills Chris Geller in Act 3. And this grandson of the man who was killed in the opening scene of our film 20 years ago gets away with it. Just like Chris Geller did 20 years earlier. We have a father and son dynamic that spreads 20 years, spreads 3 generations, and all circles back to that moment in Cinema 2.
And Dion and Dave be the grandparents. They didn't die.
No.
I thought you were going to tie.
Why not? I thought you were just making this up on the fly. I thought we're just.
Oh no! I wrote this whole 4-page synopsis and sent it to Jason. I literally woke up in the middle of the night and had this in my brain. Got up, typed it all out, and sent it to Jason the next day.
I thought you were going to tie back in. Mark and the girl had sex, and their baby ended up coming back. And doing all this or something, from the.
Oh, dude,
now that'd be a story.
Oh man, so that was that's the most recent story we've thrown out there because Jason would be age appropriate to play Chris Geller again. Nobody on this call matters except for Mark. Mark could come back as the killer because everyone else is dead. Oh, Jaybird's not dead, I guess.
Dion's not dead.
Well, but we've moved on from the Mackenzies at this point.
Dion needs revenge.
For me anymore.
Well, she wasn't distraught about her son dying. So
she didn't cry at my funeral.
It finally hit her years later, and she decides she wants revenge.
She was in shock.
Because she was high on Pergies during the whole thing. She didn't know what was going on.
Dave was like, "Come on, honey, we need to go get some melted cheese and chocolate."
Bacon.
Man, so let's open it up. Does anybody else have any questions about why we did any of the shit that we did in the first movie?
Or if you didn't
Or if
get
you
to
didn't
say
understand
something.
anything, or like 20 years later, you're still like, I don't even know what this means.
What night of the week was the premiere?
Tuesday night. Yeah, I thought you wouldn't have normally, but that was around Christmas time where we did expand hours a lot. So
I just remember thinking that we got to do it not so late because of being curtailed.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was. But how did you justify the added money for payroll? Well, I mean, you guys did sell a lot of concessions.
I mean, at that point, Tony didn't care anymore.
Good point.
So nobody really paid. We didn't have to do daily justifications of payroll.
Good point.
Thinking about now, not back then.
And I mean, let's be honest. With Mike Scott and the other gentleman who I forget that was working that night, were they even still on the clock?
Oh, yeah, they were.
They were. Okay.
Yeah, them.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I want to say Scott was working. No, Scott was there watching the movie.
Scott watched the movie. Jason Richardson, it looks like something's moving in your brain. What's going on?
And then I couldn't remember the timeline of when the filming started and such.
Yeah, so let's see. Casting was like February, March of 2000. The first scene that we shot was Memorial Day weekend in 2000. The very last weekend of May, we shot the drug dealer scene at Nate Legault's house because that was Nate's only day of filming. He has 3 scenes, but we filmed them all in one day. 2 of his 3 scenes are him on the phone by himself. The 3rd scene is when I come visit him, and then Mark came out of the closet after I left. That was probably a good 4 to 6 hours of shooting that day at Nate's house. That was our ease into filming, and that day went super quick and easy. We shot it at Nate's house in his bedroom. Like I said, 4 to 6 hours.
I don't even think it was that long. It was probably, maybe 4 hours.
Something like that. I think we might have been scheduled for 6 and we only used 4 of it or something like that. The next weekend was our first weekend. The first weekend of June was our first weekend shooting at Castleton Arts. We usually had from 10 o'clock till 3 or 4 in the morning. It depended on how late Dave and Dione were willing to stay for us that night.
Did I make Dave do all of those?
No,
you were there for a few of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe Jason's death scene was one of the very first, was part of that first weekend, if not the first night there.
Poor Mark, man, having to make that jump.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When jump from
down
the
behind
stereo,
Cinema
the
2?
speaker room,
Yep.
above the stairs to making that jump to the platform.
And when'd you guys wrap? What was your last day of wrapping up?
December 17th. 2 days before the movie premiered.
We were supposed to wrap at the first weekend of August. I think that first weekend of August was the basketball scene, if I remember right. Then, like Jason said, once I got into editing and was literally going page by page through the script and editing along with it, I found a lot of stuff that we didn't film, that we just missed, or we were on the set at the place, and we were supposed to film 2 scenes, and we only filmed 1 of the 2 of them, probably because it got so late, or I pissed somebody off, because, let's be honest, it was pretty much a weekly thing that I would piss somebody off on this movie. And that's why when I introduced Jason, I said, without Jason Maier, this movie wouldn't have gotten done. I literally remember the night that myself, Jason, Annette, and Rachel had to meet at Castleton Arts, and we had the long conversation about if we were going to be able to finish this movie because Rachel was so upset about how I was treating people on set, and it was because Annette and I were not getting along at the moment, and it was translating terribly on set.
Oh wow.
And Rachel was like, I don't want to finish this movie. Like, you guys are making it not fun to be around. I'm sorry, not you guys. I was making it not fun to be on set.
Ooh, this needs to be on the Blu-ray behind the scenes. Director's cut edition. I didn't
What
know
do you
all
think
that.
this is?
I
What do you
mean,
think
this
this
is-
Zoom call?
Okay, so here's my question before my battery dies.
Yeah.
At what point do you all, anybody involved with this, show your children this this work?
Zach?
16.
Zach?
16.
I got 7 years.
I might go for 14 or 15, depending on how
And when Jenny's out with her
mature my
friends.
children are at that point.
Okay.
So,
Dorothy is pure snow, Dion. You keep that pure snow.
If her
Yeah.
Maybe
daughter
about
is
16.
if her daughter
But,
is watching
you know,
Aliens, she
But
can
that
watch our
sex scene
movie.
with Mark Buckwalter, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I get turned on when I watch it. Also, I get it.
hilarious
Maybe
side
you could
moment.
cut the sex
So-
scene out if you got a version, then Dion can show it to her.
The funny part about that scene, since you keep bringing it up, Jay Bird, was we actually cast who we cast at that point because of the fact that she said she would do nudity.
Yep.
So we were planning on full on frontal nudity with her. And then when we went to Mark's bedroom to film that sequence, she had a change of heart, maybe beforehand, whatever the case, but she didn't tell us until we were filming. And I remember Shane and I being super mad because we are making this horror movie, and horror movies always have boobs in them, especially from the 80s, which is what we loved horror movie wise. So we were like, what are we going to do? And we were like, let's just film it from behind. She's willing to do it with her bra on, and let's go from there. And so, yeah, that's how it was one of those moments of like, you wouldn't have been cast in that role. We might have been able to find somebody to do it properly.
I could have found somebody else, but up until the day of filming,
it worked out better. Like
no, it didn't. No, because
Yes, it
up until
did.
the day of filming, she told us she was going to do the nudity.
Yeah, but if Mark's not pulling out his schlong and stuff, she doesn't need to show her breasts.
So anyway, I also remember about that day of filming, she made every single one of us leave the room. We had to start the camera recording and leave the room to record her and Mark doing what they did.
Okay. I was going to say, I know I wasn't in there.
No, I wasn't in the room. She literally made us start the camera and then walk out, and then they did their thing.
So, Mark, where's the real tape?
Somewhere. It's somewhere.
It was that other camera angle nobody knew about. So
Yeah, exactly.
Lee, I feel like you've talked the least today. I want to know if there's anything you want to talk about.
When you left, you went to LA, right? You moved out there for a while.
Yep.
Did you take the movie? I had something in my brain and thought process was like you were taking this movie out there to put in some sort of competition or something. Did you ever do that?
I did not actually end up putting it in the competition. I took it out there. I showed it to a bunch of my friends. I showed it to a bunch of people out there. But it really just didn't. It turned into a drinking game for us while we were out there.
So we could have went viral. Letting that happen.
Dude, if that was a thing 20 years ago, we definitely could have become a viral drinking game.
We could have been the first, but now we weren't. So
yeah, I feel like we could still make that
you would have
happen.
had Consternate.
Well, with everybody at home now watching TV, since they're not working and stuff, it'd be a good time to throw it out there.
Well, hold on. I've got to upload. I have to upload the new 16:9 cut of the movie today because Annette pissed me off.
Just because you pointed out something that he missed.
I was just pointing out aspect ratio.
I get a text from Annette, and it goes, "Hey, what's the aspect ratio on this movie? Because it doesn't look right." No.
We had to, if you guys remember, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, when we were filming that, we literally brought a small TV along, and we would put black bars, we put black tape over the top of the screen and on the bottom of the screen so that we knew what our shots would look like. Because otherwise, we were shooting it to be 16 or scope ratio, I think.
No, we shot it to be flat.
Flat? Okay,
Yep.
flat. But yeah, so he, it was just one of those moments of like, we went above and beyond because we were like, we're going to add black bars because we're cool. We're going to do widescreen.
So I gave Consternate a like 2.1 to 1 aspect ratio, which is nothing normal. It's
Aw.
absolutely nothing that anything broadcasts in at all. And so when Annette texted me today and said, "What's the aspect ratio of this?" It doesn't seem real. It brought up 20 years of repressed anger
Hey,
about the fact that I did something wrong 20 years ago and tried to live with it, and I suppressed it until it was brought to my attention and I had the ability to fix it. So today, I took our fucked up version of the movie and I have expanded it and repositioned it to now have a 16.9 or 16 by 9 aspect ratio. I'm going to upload this new version to the internet. The best part about it is there's certain scenes that it improves the scene, like the bathroom sex scene where you can see Annette. In our new version, you can't see her anymore. So she brought it up and she fixed the movie because she pissed me off.
Oh, cool.
We
Yeah.
lost Jason Richardson. I don't know where he went.
Jason, thank you for putting all this together.
Yeah.
Thank all of you for getting on this call 20 years later. It is crazy and it's ridiculous, but I'm so proud of what we pulled off. For being our first movie, like I've seen way worse.
you guys did good.
You did good, man.
You
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
All right.
It's impressive that you finish something and at all, because so many people don't even finish, and then to be able to get us back together this long after, they're impressive.
And one of the things that really annoys me is that we have 2 films that we never finished.
That does suck.
And like both of those movies, like it really annoys me that we haven't finished them. Like there's 2 just sitting there essentially in the can, and one missing an entire scene, and then one.
I keep telling you to write around it.
And to be completely
honest, you tell him to write around it because you lost the scene that we're talking about.
Hey, 2 people. We filmed that scene twice, and we filmed that scene twice. So like something.
You know what ended up happening was I totally think I know when I was down in Greenwood, some kids were making a movie, and because they knew that I'd been in parts of movies, so I was helping them out. And this is at the same time we're shooting it. I swear to God, we probably mixed tapes. Like the mini DV tape somehow, because I had our stuff and then they had their stuff, and using I was using cameras that I had, and helping them out. I
still hold on to the fact that Shane's ex-wife took it to make us very angry 20 years later. So
that's true. Let's do that. Let's blame her, not me.
I don't know. That's the one thing that really annoys me from the filmmaking days is the fact that for being who we were and getting things done, for us to have 2 films that just aren't done.
I got a bag upstairs and a little mini DV player. I'll go through them again.
Oh, bring them to me, man. I'm not working right now. You are.
Oh, that's right. You got time.
I'll go through them. I'm just making sure my kids do their homework.
You know what? I'll also give you. I got a bunch of VHSC of all Indulgent stuff and all of Mark's band stuff I shot still.
Nice.
Ooh, I don't know. Like unless you have the conversion tape, I can't play.
Oh, I do. It's in the backpack. I got it.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll take all of it.
I'll find a place for it. Dione, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say right now you've got the time. If you have all the footage for one of them, you should edit it.
I did some stuff from like when I was in show choir in high school. I put some of that stuff up on YouTube for the people that were in that, and so like I've done some stuff that at least instead of not doing anything creative. So
thank you guys all for being a part of this tonight. Thank you for letting me record you talk about this. Lee, thank you for making the time to join this. I know you're a couple hours behind us and you had a rough day at work yesterday. Dione, thank you for joining us, even though you've ignored me for the last 2 days. I really appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Tom and our stuff gets connected, and I think he might have read some things that I didn't quite get to. So.
Oh, I got you. Right on. Mark, dude, you're probably the one person here I haven't seen in the last couple of years, and so I am very happy to get to see you and talk to you tonight. Because man, like you, as I said in my opening, you are you are more dedicated to this movie than anybody else. But like I said, myself included.
Thank you. No. I appreciate it. Yeah, dude, I had fun, and like I said, it was fun. But I can tell you this.
What's up?
C2, the first night.
Yep.
Maybe an upgrade.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Jason Richardson, I'm glad to see you're back.
I was cut out my internet.
Gotcha. Thank you for number one being a part of this movie 20 years ago. I know Valerie didn't want anybody to do our movie because I got fired from the theater that we all worked at together.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Jaybird was working at Greenwood, so that didn't matter to him.
Oh,
but yeah,
you're right.
Valerie told the entire management staff that they were not allowed to be in this movie, and we ended up losing Manuel, Nick White. I want to say we lost somebody else, but like David looked at her and went, "This is my brother's movie too. Screw you, I'm doing it anyway." So, we lost Manuel and Nick, and I want to say we might have had one or two others that we were trying to get committed to doing it, and that didn't happen. So, yeah, that was fun.
Annette, it has been a pleasure talking to you all day while you watch the movie. Like, I really appreciate our interaction and you being like, I forgot about this. This is so ridiculous. You're the shittiest boyfriend ever. I'm like, yeah, I get that.
I'm glad you enjoyed my play-by-play.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because I was like, oh, I know what scene she's watching right now. And I was a shitty boyfriend. Zach, dude, thank you so much for being on the call tonight, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you going. I don't care what's going on. I want to be a part of it. Like, you literally had come back from college, and this is what Jason and I were doing, and you said I'm gonna be there for every minute of it, and it was awesome. Killer, I don't know why you're still here or why I haven't booted you yet, but thank you for not speaking at all tonight. I thought you were Dave Maier, but I don't know who you are now.
Just from the standpoint of just getting everybody together, because I really don't get to see anybody, mainly Jason, who I communicate with. It's a time capsule, man. So it's cool because you can get in this moment and like you're like right back to those moments. Like I'm remembering moments working with Jaybird that like I haven't thought about, and just being in the moment, like it's just cool, man. Just everybody getting along and having a good time. And so you said, real diverse group, and we had fun, man. And it was a cool Tyler McKenzie party, man.
So before the world went crazy in 2020, Jason and I had actually cleared it with our company that we were going to be able to show the movie in December at the theater that Dione works at now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joanne had given us permission that we were going to be able to have one screen for one night for one showing to show our movie to get everybody back together for the 20th anniversary. But that's up in the air right now. So we'll see how the world is in December. And if Joanne still allows us to do that, we're hoping to put together a 20th anniversary showing in December and try to get as many people back together as we can. Like I said, Jason and I have a new staff who absolutely love the movie, who have all told us they want to come watch it. So it could potentially be a lot of fun to get everybody back together in person.
He shows movies on his projector in his driveway, I've noticed. So yeah. I'd come back for that.
In December, we'll have a Tyler McKenzie party in Jason's driveway.
Okay.
Hey, we need like 8 canopy tents that you can set up. We'll just line them up on both sides, and
man,
we'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
we got one.
I mean, let's be honest. If all these theaters are still closed in December, we'll have no problem getting in and showing it. We have access to the buildings.
This is true.
Yep.
We can turn the popcorn poppers on. There's still popcorn there.
Not a bad idea.
But yeah, so hopefully in the next couple of months, we can figure out what's going on with the theater business, and we can try to get reopened, and we can try to show this. Like, I personally will be very sad if we can't show it in some kind of public setting in December for the 20th anniversary. Because if we don't do it now, we gotta wait 5 more years, and who knows who I'll piss off in the next 5 years.
And it's on a Thursday night this year, so that would be awesome.
But yeah, so hopefully we can get a 20th anniversary showing. It would be awesome to have Zach record that for us, put a video together, get some testimonials of everybody in person, cut something together with that, and just see everybody in person and not on a Zoom call.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for your time tonight.
Right.
Super appreciate it.